I intentionally killed her.
How did you do that?
I repeatedly punched her. On many occasions, my son, I told him to tell me every single thing she did to him. So as he was telling me more and more things that she did. I assaulted her every time he told me what she did to him. By assault, I mean I punched her. I have put a bag over her head till she lost consciousness. I threw hot water on her, scalding hot water from the faucet.
Did you hit her in the head with a wooden
Yes,
stick?
I hit her in her head multiple times, over and over.
Was that shortly before she died?
That was actually days before she died and the day she died.
Okay.
Seeing this, you might feel that the actions of Michelle Blair, after knowing that the person had been sexually assaulting her child, were justified. Any parent would certainly want to kill anyone who harms their child, and so did Michelle. But what if I told you that the person she's talking about, the girl who had been sexually assaulting her son, was her own daughter, only 13 years old? What if I told you that Michelle not only killed her daughter, but also her 9-year-old son, alleging that he too had been assaulting her youngest son? Things would turn even more unbearable when I tell you that she did not just kill her 2 children in the heat of the moment, but she beat them, starved them, tortured them for weeks before taking their lives. Things get even worse. After their death, she stuffed their bodies in a chest freezer in front of her oldest daughter and youngest son. You're about to see the story of Michelle Blair, infamously called as the Freezer Mom. In the process of researching her case, I have found it to be a very complex and confusing case for reasons you'll see later. Let's get started from the beginning. Michelle Blair was born on 10th of May 1979. She lived in Detroit, Michigan, and from the interviews she gave describing her childhood, it was not a pleasant one. She said that she had been sexually molested by a woman when she was young. What's worse was that her mother never believed her nor validated her feelings. This led to a lot of rage festering inside of her. She married Matthew J. Dorsey, with whom she had Gabby and Stoney Blair. The marriage did not last long due to Blair's uncontrollable anger issues. She then married Stephen Berry, with whom she had 2 sons, Stephen and Matthew. After separating from both the husbands, she lived in apartment 804, Martin Luther King Apartments, with 4 of her children. Gabby Blair was the oldest at 17, Stoney Blair was 13, Stephen was 9 and Matthew was 6. This is how the torture and murder started. Sometime around mid of August 2012, Michelle returned home to find her youngest son, Matthew, playing with 2 dolls, making them do inappropriate things. Upon asking, Matthew told her mother that Stephen had been bullying him, beating him, and even sexually assaulting him. Do note that this is the narrative told by Michelle during the investigations. She said that Matthew would complain of pain while using the bathroom. This suggested that he was getting sexually molested by Stephen, so in the heat of the moment, she confronted the 9-year-old. Michelle started punching Stephen continuously on the stomach, asking him to tell the truth. Stephen denied. She then took him to the bathroom, filled the bathtub with scalding hot water, and made him stand there. His feet were severely burned to the point that the skin started to peel off, but she did not stop there. Michelle then threw hot water on Stephen's private parts. Finally, after being tortured to such extreme lengths, Michelle said that Stephen admitted to sexually assaulting his brother. After all of this was over, Michelle would continue beating Stephen for almost 2 weeks, each time getting enraged for what he had done to Matthew. And finally, on August 30, 2012, Stephen complained that he was feeling sick. He wanted to throw up. He refused to eat anything as his stomach ached, most probably due to internal bleeding. And after a few hours of labored breathing, Stephen passed away. Michelle tried to do CPR on him, but it was too late. Finally, she took a blanket, which was Stephen's favorite blanket, wrapped it around the lifeless body, and dumped it inside the chest freezer that was kept in their living room. The other 3 children were completely aware of everything. They lived knowing that their brother's dead body was right there in front of them. 9 months after the death of Stephen, in May of 2013, Michelle found Matthew was not feeling well. Upon asking, he said that his sister, 13-year-old Stoney, had been beating him, taking his food, and even sexually assaulting him. She said that Stoney would take her menstrual pad and pour blood on his mouth. None of these things have been proven. It all came from Michelle Blair after she was caught. After finding all of this out, she asked Stoney about it. Of course, she denied. And then the assault began. She started punching her. Then she used a piece of thick wood and hit her on the head so many times that it was impossible to even know how many times she was hit.
Actually, the entire scalp was suffused with hemorrhage, which meant that she had received numerous impacts over the head.
Michelle claimed that Stoney said she hated Matthew and refused to apologize to him. Michelle started starving Stoney, giving her only one oatmeal in a day. But here's the problem. Take a look at this video.
Because she was asleep, but I sat down in front of her. So you wake up, she basically wake up and saw my face, and she was like this. And I just kept asking her, "Are you ready to apologize?"
Now, when you asked her if she was ready to apologize, what did she say?
She said, "There's nothing wrong with my son, that's all I know."
Nobody's saying what's wrong with your son. What did she say, though? When you said, "Are you ready to apologize?" What did she say?
She doesn't want to apologize to him.
So she said no?
Yeah, but it's like, it wasn't a flat out no. It's like, I am sorry for doing it to somebody, but you're not sorry for doing that to him? This is what I'm saying. Like,
what did she say? What did she say?
She just looked at me.
So she didn't say
went
nothing?
like this. Stoney doesn't do that. She's been hard to get answers out of. She's like, and I'm like, "Stoney, are you
so she never
to
said
apologize?" No. She was saying no a couple days before, and that's what she keeps saying, no. So I'm like, "Are you ready to apologize to him?" She just said, "I'm sorry for doing it to." How are you not sorry for your brother?
She said she was sorry for doing it to what?
No, I misspoke. Not for doing it. She said, "I'm sorry for doing it, period, to somebody." But you're not going to say you're sorry for doing it.
You can notice how Michelle keeps changing the story and avoiding the question about the details of Stoney's response. After a week or so, Michelle took a t-shirt and wrapped it around Stoney's neck, strangling her. She then put a plastic bag over her head, which led to her death due to suffocation. Michelle then wrapped the body in a blanket, called her eldest daughter Gabby, and asked her to carry the body of her sister and dump it over Stephen's body. 2 years after killing Stoney and keeping both of her children's body in the freezer, she was caught. It was all due to her eviction. After failing to pay the rent, she was evicted from the apartment. The bailiffs found the freezer and were shocked to see the body of the girl in there. The cops were called. It was not possible to remove the body from the freezer, so they had to move the entire freezer to the station. After removing the body of the girl, they found another body. The police had to cut a hole in the blanket to see the other body. Michelle was arrested soon after. Take a look at these images. In the following investigations and court hearings, Michelle never tried to hide the fact that she was the one who did this. She also mentioned explicitly that her intentions were to kill the children. Now, I've seen many people online defending her actions and saying that any parent would act in the heat of the moment when the safety of the children is concerned. That's right, but the case of Michelle was not about the safety of her children. She never really cared for her children. In 2002 and 2005, the Child Protection Services were alerted about Michelle. She had been assaulting Gabby Blair, something confirmed by Gabby herself in a documentary. For some reason, the document from 2002 went missing, and the CPS cannot provide more details about the 2005 incident. Had they acted on time, these children would have been spared of the trauma they had to endure, and Stoney and Stephen would have been alive. Now, coming to the allegations of sexual assaults were never proven. It was Michelle who claimed that Matthew was getting sexually assaulted by his siblings. But since the children did not go to school and Michelle was at home all the time, when did these assaults take place? It is very likely that the children were beating or bullying their youngest brother, and it is not their fault for such behavior. Living with an uncaring and abusive mother would cause the children to act in such way. But to accuse your children of sexual assault just so that you can justify your heinous crimes crosses the limits of depravity. If, and a big if, Stoney and Stephen did admit to Michelle about sexually assaulting their brother, it was a forced confession. You pour scalding hot water on anyone and they would accept whatever you ask them just to make the torture stop. Coming to the argument of heat of the moment, she did not commit the crimes in the heat of the moment. She had ample time to calm down and think about what she was doing. She did not. She chose to beat them, starve them, and torture them. That shows her true intentions. But the question is, why did she kill her own children, and in such a terrible way? Michelle Blair was molested when she was young. The perpetrator was a female. Her mother did nothing about it, which might have led to pent-up anger. She had severe anger management issues. It's likely that she found out that Stephen and Stoney were bullying Matthew, and the rage took over. From all the interrogations I've seen, it was clear that she did not want to kill Stephen. It was all the rage that took over, and she did not want it to stop. But later, when she found out about Stoney, all the anger inside her burst. She did want to kill Stoney as she felt she would save Matthew. It was a twisted way of thinking and justifying her actions. You can see many of her interviews where she justifies her actions by saying that she saved Matthew. Now take a look at these clips.
And then we can continue this. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Is there any way you see if my aunt has?
Yep, I'm gonna go check on that right now.
Could they possibly still be here?
They could. Let me go find out, okay?
Are you allowed to tell? I know.
What do you want?
Just tell them I love them.
Yeah, sure.
My kids.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay? You need anything? Drink a little bit of water. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
I just can't hold this like this no more. It's like,
I understand. I'm gonna come back to it and get it off your chest, okay?
can't.
You can see her realizing what she had done and sobbing about it when she was caught. But as time went by, she started rationalizing what she did. And then you get this.
Because my son knew he wasn't going to tell because he was happy that I killed them. Unsupervised, he's never given a about my daughters.
Just a moment, Mother. You're turning
Never,
right, yes.
never. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand
wait,
the whole crew here now, but y'all was never there for them. How many birthdays did you miss? Mikey, his ex-girlfriend, did more for him than any of y'all.
Mom, you have to stop. This is a hearing. Your attorney
Y'all
will
was
get a
never there
chance
for
to
them.
speak.
You want to put on a show for the news, though? But you ain't got nothing to say to me for what I did for my child. Period. The gas, and he's a drunk. Now tell the truth on that. You. Everybody want to know? Yes, I did kill her.
Michelle Blair was found guilty and at the moment is serving life with no parole. She will spend the rest of her life behind bars. You can get an idea of what a monster she actually is. Even in prison, she has had over 45 counts of misdemeanor, including assaulting other inmates and throwing a can of Pringles filled with her urine and feces. Another inmate claims that Michelle admitted that she made up an entire story of sexual assault and it was all done to kill their children and get some sympathy. Michelle Blair is a deranged person who took the lives of 2 innocent children and traumatized the 2 living ones. The silver lining here is that Gabby Blair has started college, while Matthew has been adopted by a family and is doing very well. If you like the video, consider subscribing. As a new and growing channel, each like, comment and subscribe means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.